Good morning. Welcome to Pastor John's Fireside Chat. It is Thursday, March 10th. I hope that you're doing well. For the past several weeks, we've been going through the 7 churches mentioned in Revelation chapters 2 and 3. And today we come to the 5th church that is mentioned, starting in Revelation chapter 3, verse 1, the church in Sardis. Jesus says, "To the angel of the church in Sardis write, these are the words of him who holds the 7 spirits of God and the 7 stars. I know your deeds. You have a reputation of being alive, but you are dead." What a frightening thought. Sardis had a reputation of being a blowing and going church, a church filled with the Spirit, where excellent things were happening. It's probably the kind of church that we would attend if we had a chance, because its reputation preceded it. Everyone thought it was a great church. The problem with human beings is that we judge on externals, but God penetrates to the deepest part of our hearts. God sees what we do not see. And although Sardis had a reputation for being an alive church, Jesus saw that it was dead. That's a warning to all of us, that if we're only looking at externals, we can easily be deceived. We ultimately serve an audience of one, and that is God himself, who really knows what is in our hearts. And what's scary is that he knows all the dead stuff that's in us, because we're sinful people. And yet, to this dead church, listen to what he says. "Wake up. Strengthen what remains and is about to die. For I have not found your deeds complete in the sight of my God. Remember therefore what you have received and heard. Obey it and repent. But if you do not wake up, I will come like a thief, and you will not know at what time I will come to you." Isn't it interesting that Jesus is speaking to a dead church and he tells it to wake up? I've been to a lot of funerals in the past 30 years as a pastor, and never once has a dead person gotten up out of the casket. And yet, Jesus, speaking to dead people, to a dead church, says, "Wake up." Why? Because he is the one who raises the dead. Even though our spiritual lives can at times seem like that valley of dry bones mentioned in the book of Ezekiel, because of Jesus Christ and the Spirit of God, he breathes upon those who are dead, and we come together as a living body, the church of Christ. And Jesus continues to speak to us in our deadness, in our corruption, in our unwillingness to receive the life that he wants for us. And he continues to come to us, giving us an opportunity to receive the gifts that he gives, himself and his Spirit that creates life. Jesus also says, "Yet you have a few people in Sardis who have not soiled their clothes. They will walk with me, dressed in white, for they are worthy. He who overcomes will be like them, be dressed in white. I will never blot out his name from the book of life, but will acknowledge his name before my Father and his angels. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the church." Even in the midst of this dying church or dead church, there were a few people who were still alive. And how could you tell them? Because they weren't focused on the externals. It was not about them and what they did. It was about the person they received. They were clothed in the righteousness of Jesus Christ. That's that white robe that's been given to us in our baptism. And because of that, we get to walk with God. More than that, as we walk with God, he also reminds us that our names are written in the book of life. Again, not because of anything that we've done, but all because of what Jesus Christ has done for us. I pray that we will hear what Jesus says to the church in Sardis, because we too are in need of being reminded that at times we are spiritually dead because we go after the ways of the world rather than walking with Christ. And yet, Jesus Christ came into this world for people just like us, people who are spiritually dead, spiritually blind, and enemies of God, so that through his love, through his sacrifice, we can become the forgiven children of the Almighty. I pray that you and I will always be wrapped in that robe of righteousness won for us by Jesus Christ, and know as we live our lives now that our names are written in the book of life and they will never be blotted out. Have a great day.